jockey with talent. Johnny Benson outqualified the rest of the Roush stable. Rick Mast is a veteran with a revamped race team. Mike Skinner is still the surprising points leader. 4 men, all starting in the top 10. Today they carry the hopes of their crew and the spirit of every driver that's ever dreamed of winning at stock car racing's highest level. Today they must accomplish this difficult task at one of the sport's most demanding tracks. And that is a major effort to accomplish. But there's no Cinderella in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. All you'll find here, dedicated men, those that have already achieved their goal of winning, and those that sincerely believe they're about to.
Rusty Wallace started off the season with 3 straight top 10 finishes, but last week in Atlanta, some unusual handling problems dropped him to a 35th place finish. Today at Darlington, Rusty starts 26th. He wound up 12th Saturday afternoon in happy hour, so look for him to charge to the front of the pack. Mark Martin starts from the 3rd spot. He has a win this year and is 5th in points. But don't blame him if he feels a little angry at Darlington. His engine failure in last year's Southern 500 here eliminated his championship hopes. So Mark is out for revenge, and in happy hour, he tamed the lady in black with the fastest lap. Martin might just dominate today.
Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, and Ned Sherrod with you in the booth. Here's the Everstart Walmart starting grid. Gordon and Benson in the front row. And guys, this place opened back in 1950. It was the first paved super speedway for NASCAR. A lot of drivers back then had a tough time figuring it out. Some of them still haven't figured it out.
Hey, you're right. They had trouble figuring it out at 100 miles per hour, and you can see the speeds they're running today. As they get faster, it becomes more difficult.
This track chews up tires. Tire management is a key factor here at Darlington. You got to race the racetrack. Don't race the other drivers.
3 drivers missed the field. Derek Cope, Dave Marcus, and Rich Bickle all failed to qualify. It's the second time that each of those drivers has failed to make a field in 1999. Onboard cameras will be throughout the field here this afternoon. On board there with Bobby Labonte, who will be giving up his seat to Matt Kenseth soon. Here's the race analysis. 293 laps, almost a $2 million purse. Well, those tires are going to wear out at least by 60 laps. And the race record is held by David Pearson. Here's Jerry Punch.
Because of the concern over tire wear, NASCAR is considering a possible caution flag around lap 30 if the yellow hasn't flown earlier. Now, that caution flag could play right into the hands of Bobby Labonte if, and I would say if, he could last that long.
We are again battling weather. We did last week at Atlanta, and we have apparently some weather moving in on us. It's a narrow band of showers, however, that if it does occur at all, will only last for a brief amount of time. But that's the reason why we are accelerating the start here this afternoon of the TranSouth Financial 400. We had heavy storms overnight about 2:30. Everybody was awakened by thunder and lightning. Let's hope we don't have that level of activity here this afternoon. The field moves out of corner number 4, looking for the green flag in the beginning of this 5th race of 1999. Here we go. The lead as they go down the backstretch. Benson looked like trying to challenge on the outside. That isn't the line that he's going to need. He has never led a lap at Darlington. Johnny Benson has not, and he will not lead the first one here. Jeff Gordon will, and Mark Martin will run second.
So Kevin LePage trying to make a move on the inside of Rick Mast. Contact between the two.
Boy, that could have resulted in a major catastrophe here on the second lap of the race, but fortunately it did not.
They only had 35 cars right behind them, ready to run over them if they had some kind of problem. Never seen Elliott Sadler, great qualifying run. And look at Mark Martin coming up and close the gap on Jeff Gordon.
Yes, Martin's car is painted differently this week. They're promoting the Xerox line, Valvoline-owned products.
He was fastest yesterday.
Oh, somebody has a problem. There's a slow car down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Schrader sideways and into the wall.
And there's Earnhardt in the crash. Jerry Nadeau in the crash. That was Rick Mast that was slow on the bottom of the racetrack.
So caution is out. This will be the break that Bobby Labonte looks for.
Looks like that Earnhardt and Nadeau are going to be able to pull away. Here's the initial contact between LePage and Mast.
There we see the contact. I wonder if maybe the left rear tire was cut on Rick Mast's car. There we see Mast very, very slow at the start-finish line, trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Sterling Marlin, and we see the smoke out of the back of the car. I don't know what the problem is, but there, Schrader, all of a sudden, gets too high going in the first corner. Man, he slams the wall, comes across the racetrack with Earnhardt and Nadeau, and it doesn't look like that Earnhardt had a lot of damage to his car.
I think that perhaps Schrader might have gotten some contact from Steve Park, Ned.
I believe he did too, Bob. It looked like because the car just shot all of a sudden up, going around and into the wall.
And from another angle, there's Schrader sideways and up into the outside wall. Then he comes down across the track and there collects Earnhardt and Nadeau.
But Steve Park was way behind Kenny Schrader when he first spun.
He was, yeah. There was not contact between those two.
Yeah.
And see what Wally Darling back in the Budweiser onboard camera sees as he's racing with Darrell Waltrip. Man, he goes in the corner and goes through the smoke, and luckily nothing was there when he got there.
And from the Pennzoil copter cam,
there we see the contact between Steve Park and Kenny. And I guess that is what got Schrader going, as a matter of fact. Bob, good eyes. Those new eyes are working great, aren't they?
Well, I thought I saw it too the first time, and then the next replay didn't show it.
Schrader walking away. Jerry, what was the situation with Rick Mast?
Well, guys, Benny was exactly right. As Rick Mast came out of turn 4 down the straightaway, the left rear tire went flat. He was on the inner liner. He jumped on the brakes, and they began to back up behind him as they split Mast to go around. That's when it all became a jumble in turn 1, and it broke loose with Schrader and others involved. Now Mast brings the car number 98 down pit road, the Burdett Yarborough Motorsports Ford Taurus, and they will change all 4 tires. The left rear tire completely flat. Most of the rubber has been chewed away. He is actually on the inner liner as he sits on pit road. Changing left side tires. Mast and his crew still looking for a sponsorship. A 10th at Daytona, a 16th last week at Atlanta. They were hoping for a great run today. There is some sheet metal damage in the left rear, but now they make sure they get it completely serviced, and he is down and away. Let's check in with John Kernan.
They just got the word 1 lap to go, and Bobby Labonte has decided not to come onto pit road to make the driver change with Matt Kenseth. What they had wanted to do was waited for the field to close up as close as they could, and then they were going to come in. But then they got the word that now it is 1 to go. Bobby says he feels fine. He's just riding around out there. The car feels pretty good. And Matt Kenseth waiting. He will go into the car, in the 18 car, in the next available opportunity. Labonte is hoping to get a caution again soon.
And I think right now, Bobby Labonte is waiting for the rain. As you look over towards turn 3 and 4, it's dark over there. That's where the weather comes in from this area, and it looks like it is going to rain. And if it doesn't, Bobby Labonte made a serious mistake. But right now, I think he's waiting for the rain to make that driver change.
You know that he has to be in pain because of the broken shoulder blade that he suffered on Friday, but he's staying out there as long as he can. Of course, the most important thing was just to start the race and take the green flag, because he will now earn points wherever that car finishes.